Hello there. In this video, we are going to check out Flutter authentication using OpenID and the ABP using IdentityServer. There is already a community post in the ABP community to create ABP or to consume ABP APIs using Flutter app, and it's a really good article. You can go and check it out. There are some differences to this article and then the way I did it. I'm not using client secret, and to log out, the Flutter AppAuth package does not provide a logout functionality yet. So the author of this blog post used the prompt value as login to initiate a login every time the authentication happens. So this is the only change from the blog post here, and also I'm using a different package called OpenID client. So instead of using this Flutter AppAuth, I'm using OpenID client so that the way we do things will be a little bit different from what's available in this article. I also wrote a blog post just to follow along. If you see here, we are adding a new JSON entry, and we only have two things here, a client ID and a client redirect URI. We will see how to simply add a new JSON entry and then create a client and then implement OpenID in Flutter applications. Okay, let's get started. First is we need the JSON. Go back, and then you have to add the JSON in the migrator app settings. Here is the to-do app. We have a spa app. I will put it here. So the included here. I want to point out one thing here, that is the slash. So make sure this slash is available. If you look at all the other examples, there is no end slash, but it's important you have it here because the library actually expects you to have it. Just keep that in mind. Apart from that, everything is done for the app settings. Now let's come here and then let's add our client. So let's add our client here. So come back, copy this, and then I will put it here. So we will be reading the Flutter 2, and then we need a client ID and the redirect URI. So perfect. So here we are reading the configuration as client ID, Flutter 2 client, Flutter, and then we are setting the redirect URI into the redirect URI, and then we are not using the client credential scope. We only use authorization code scope here, and then we are saying there is no client secret required, and then we are setting the redirect URI as localhost. You have to remember the library creates the local server, so I think you have to keep localhost 3000 as a redirect URI even in the production as well. Just keep that in mind. So once you have done that, you can set this as a startup project and then try to run. So this will run the migrations for you and then create the tables or update the client. So the migration has started. It's executing this database seed. Okay, the migrations are done. So to verify, we can come and then check out using Postgres, and the table name, database name is to do. Okay, we came here and then let's check the clients. Okay, we have Flutter to do Flutter 2 client available. Let's check the redirect URIs. Perfect, we also have the redirect URI. Now let's run the app. We are running the app now. The application is launching. Now we are going to use an emulator here, and we have to I'll first install the old app. So the emulator has its own network, so first we have to expose our app outside. To expose our app outside, I'm going to use another application called ngrok. So what it does is it tunnels your local host to the internet, and through this tunneling we can access our local host inside the app. To do that, just download the ngrok and then set the API key. Once you did that, you can just come here and expose. Okay, I have this command here in the, so just copy this and then you can paste it. So this will initiate the tunneling, and now your API is actually available in this URL. So you can click here, so your app is running perfectly. Just make sure this is our URL on the internet. So you have to copy this and then apply this in the Flutter app. As of now, we don't have a Flutter app, so let's go to the repo and then make sure it's empty. Yeah, it's empty, and I will do create Flutter app, and this will create a Flutter app for me. Okay, my Flutter app is created, my to-dos, and then I will open that in code. I will have the main, so I will increase the font size maybe. Perfect. We have our home page. Let's delete these first. I will create a folder and then add a home page, and it's a stateful widget. Okay, now I escape material, and then this is null safe, so you have to give something like this. So the null safe is gone, and text as home. Okay, now just use our new homepage here. Perfect. Now we can try to launch our empty app and see what's going on. So now the app is launching. It figured out, okay, I have emulator running. Let's see how fast it launches. the first build will take a while because it has to compile the Gradle, and then the second and the subsequent builds will be faster. And during that time, we can clean up the app, take the comments out. Okay. Now, in the meantime, we can go and check out the dependencies. So these are the two dependencies we are going to install. Okay, our app is launching. And the widget inspector is opening. Okay, we have our text available. Okay, so our app is launched. First is to add the dependencies. So I will copy these and then put it in pubspec YAML dependencies. Indentation is important, so just make sure as soon as you save the pubspec YAML, the Visual Studio Code will figure out, oh, okay, I have to get these dependencies, and it will automatically do it for you. And once you got it, you can come back to the blog and then just copy it over all the imports and paste them. And you can also take the variables and then paste them. So this is the URL. This URL is the issuer. So this is where the ngorg URL comes. So you have to replace the issuer with the new URL you got. So this is this tunneling. Anytime you tunnel, you will get a random GUID. So you have to change it anytime you tunnel. So I have a client ID, which is to-dos Flutter 2, issuer, which is the URL of the website, and then the scopes. And I have a logout URL. So 4 variables. Now, let's go back, and then we will create a center and a column, and then the column has few. I will try to copy the entire widget and then replace. So now we have built scaffold, added a container. In the container there is a column, and now we have to create these 2 methods. And for that, we will come out and then copy the methods. I will explain what these methods do in a moment. Perfect. Now we have a login button and a logout button in the app. So let's go into the app. So if I click login, okay, there's an error. Interesting. I think I have to stop and rebuild because now we added package. So I'm rebuilding again. While the rebuilding is happening, let's check the code. So here we are passing 3 variables: a URI, a client ID, and scopes. And all these things are declared above. And this is a function, a local function, which will take a URL and then launch the URL with JavaScript, and then and also forces the web UI. So it's you can totally enable it will launch a browser, it will force the browser to use the web view, and also enable JavaScript. So once that is done, we are initiating an authenticator here. So the authenticator is taking a client, scope, and then a URL launcher and a port. So the port is the port which is mentioned in the redirect URI. So if you come to the Flutter Redirect URI, we mentioned 3000 as the port. I also mentioned we need a slash at the end because if you go inside the authenticator and then check the authenticator code, so the library author parses the URL as HTTP localhost and 3000. So what they are doing here is that they are starting a server locally inside the browser and then listening on port 3000. So since it's a local port running locally, you don't have to update anything in the Android app configuration. So when I log in now, the app will launch. Okay, and we can log in. Okay, so it says the clear text is not permitted. The problem with this is that you have to figure out a way to make sure that the clear text is available. I think I have a way to figure this out. You can add a clear, you go to Android, app, source, main, core manifest. In the Android app, you just add a use clear text traffic as true. So we stop this and then launch the app again. Okay, you cannot launch the app again. So what we are doing here is we are telling the Android application the clear text traffic is okay, and in the login, in the authentication, this OpenID client library launches a localhost server, and then using that localhost server, it requests a callback. When you check the callback, it checks whether the state of the callback is what kind of a response is available. So if it is for proof of key for code exchange, then it just responds and then gets the token for you. Okay, so we will try this again. Log in. The login succeeded, and then we got the token now. So when you look at when we did the login now, the browser kind of figured out, okay, this person already logged in, and then it just closed. So now we should be able to log out. Yes, the logout also worked. If you want to clearly see the logout, maybe I should increase the seconds to 3 and then log in again. So we have a browser which we can switch tenant, and then we can also open and close. So these are this is the reason we need to use we need to enable the JavaScript, because these things, the switch dialog depends on JavaScript enabled. And then log in again. Okay, we logged in. I will put the breakpoint here where the token was retrieved, or the response. And then for the logout, I will put I'll first log out. So you're signed out, and then it closes automatically, and then you log in. So if you check out the response, this is the JSON response of, so it has ID token, it has access token, and then the token of, yes, yeah, so it has ID token, access token, refresh token, and the scope. So we can use, you can store these things somewhere. It's up to you to store how you store it. I have printed the access token here. You can use this access token to call the APIs. And this closed web view is coming from one of the other extensions we put here. So the URL launcher. The URL launcher has the methods to launch the URL and also close the browser. So we have a full-blown authentication mechanism using OAuth where we just launched the authentication and then got the token and then printed the token and then logged out as well. So Flutter is actually this app can actually also run on a Windows app. So if you change the device to Windows and then run it, this will launch a Windows app, and then the Windows app kind of looks the same. Again, the first build will take a while. And remember, we only made one change here in the Android application to use the clear text, but since the Windows app launches the browser, the app will not be, the Windows app would not need that. Okay, let's wait for the Windows app to build. Okay, we have our Windows app. Now we can click login, and that will trigger a login in the browser. And then admin. You can log in now. You can close this browser. Now if you come back here, you would see a breakpoint here, and again you have an access token. So this methodology kind of works for both Windows and also for the Android and also for the mobile app as well. Yeah, you can do a TryCatch because this the close window is not implemented for the Windows, so the launch will work, but when you try to close the browser, you cannot close the browser. You have to manually close the browser, but the authentication will work. But if you want to log out, that also works. So you can actually be logged out. It's just that the window will not close because the implementation for the close is not available. So yes. So put a TryCatch inside the closed web view, and then we are actually done. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. It's pretty straightforward implementation. I didn't do much. I just copied all the code from the OpenID package. So this is the example code they gave in the OpenID client package dev page. The only problem I found is that the annoyance is that if you go inside this authorize, you can in this authenticator you can totally see that they have hard coded the localhost. So because they are starting the local server internally, they always mention it as localhost. Make sure you mention the port correctly, and then the redirect URL has a slash at the end, because that's also hard coded. Just keep that in mind. Everything else will work fine. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I will see you again in another video. Bye bye.